Hi everyone, it's Kelly. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you a design team project that I made for Golden Mead on Etsy, and I'll leave her links below. First off, I want to tell you that I have allergies really bad, so my voice may go out today. We'll see how it goes. Also, I've got this crazy setup for filming this with my phone, and if it all comes crashing down, it'll be the biggest debacle that you've ever seen on YouTube. But hopefully that won't happen. So let me just tell you a little bit about this journal. First off, I use Golden Mead's Vintage People number 1 and 3, and I also used her Mixed Media Collage Papers set 1. And she also has images in what she calls the useful greens. So I used a combination of all of these papers, these digital papers. The little boy on the cover is adorable. He is holding a bunny, and he's part of Vintage People, I think either 1 or 3, I don't remember which, but he's part of the Vintage People images. And I've got a little bow tied on to close the book, and a little charm of a bird with some beads and a little rusted safety pin. This just unties and it comes off. It's like a topper. But before I take it off, I just wanted to tell you the topper has vintage lace. It's got corrugated cardboard painted. The book is very, very rustic and very worn that I used. And what it was, I used a Bobbsy twins book. It's called Bobbsy Twins in the Country. And it's a 1907 book. I found it at the thrift store, and I did not have the heart to pass it up. It was very much loved and in poor shape. So let me show you the book. But the topper just fits right on with this adorable boy here. And the back has also got some lace. And you can just take it off, and here's the book. It's about 5 by 7.5, and it is extremely old. You can see, like, I had to reinforce it in areas. I had to reinforce the spine. It's very worn on the front. The Bobbsy Twins in the Country. So let's open up. And first inside, we have a snippet roll that I made. It says Vintage Treasures, and a beautiful image from her Vintage People number 3 kit, mounted with some lace and some paper bag. And you can journal on the back. It's got the lace trim around. It's really pretty. This is just a piece of vintage writing paper, so it's got that vintage stain, and goes into this belly band, which could fit, you know, plenty more. Here's a beautiful page that's printed out on cotton paper, deckled edge cotton paper, and this is from the Mixed Media Collage set. And I tried to utilize some of the actual pages from the book. So you've got the Bobbsy Twins in the Country title page by Laura Lee Hope. And like I said, it was 1907. And this is from Useful Greens. I love this. Very beautiful of these birds. And fitting contents, table of contents coming up. Next page here. This is actually the table of contents from the book. And there's a little specimen slide with a butterfly, and this is from Useful Greens too. I loved it. It looks kind of like where I live with the marshy waters, and just beautiful, I thought. Some vintage tape, or tape made to look vintage there, and there's actually some real vintage tape on the slide because I used some really old cardboard when I created it. I'm not going to take it off, but it's just on here with a little cute little clip and some lace. And here's a pocket that I made using some of the papers from the book. And it's got a made to look old butterfly postcard. And just a few bits of snippets from the papers and some fabrics that I had, and an old button. So you've got a nice little pocket there. And this slides out. Here's one of the images from the kit, from the Vintage People kits, along with the collage papers. And then I created a little paper bag that I made using some of those collage images. And inside, I just made a couple of tags also using her images. And tags made from the paper and a little sewing on the bottom. And these are basically, you can write all over these. So they're little journaling spots. And they can fit in this little bag. And there you have it, and a little label stapled on. So that just slides in there. And then this next page, more beautiful vintage photos from the kits. Some journaling cards here, just little papers, journaling papers made with leftover cuts. And this was a book page. They just slide in here like this. This was a book page that's folded down, so you can see it's got all these layers where you can tuck little things. So I just used some coffee stained tags and I slide them in there. This one says bloom and grow, and this one says soar. So they can go in there, and you can tuck little other goodies in there if you want. Each one is a little individual pocket. And here's one of the pages. I told you I utilized some of the pages. So this one is the chapter 1. It's called The Invitation. And I put a little pansy taped in there. You know, it's a pansy sticker. It's not a real one. And since it's called The Invitation, and they're talking about, you know, getting invited and them wanting to go, the boys wanting to go, I just stamped "You're invited" here. More pages, vintage pages from the book. This is another image I just love of some boys fishing. So this is just kind of like a country theme, things that you would do in the country, the Bobbsy twins might do, trying to keep the integrity of the book and using her beautiful, Golden Mead's beautiful images as well. Under this is a little tuck spot, and we have some embossed envelope and a little journaling card in here. And we have a vintage First National Bank check, which I have embossed with a leaf print on both sides, actually. And that's a real leaf print. Thought that was kind of cool. And then this is from the book, Western Stories for Boys. I just included that. It was really neat. It was in the original books. I just included that. And they can tuck in here under this cute picture. And this is some really grungy coffee dyed paper that I used here, and some lace on the edge. Another beautiful image from the kit. And then this is an Edith Holden scrap with another leaf print on it. This is from the Useful Greens kit, and I just thought that looked really pretty in there. And a little butterfly that I added. This is interesting. This is a pocket that I made, and I actually used papers from her kits and some fabric, a little bit of ticking fabric there, and a little snippet from the book. This image is so sweet, but I collaged it and then I laminated it. So it's a laminated pocket, and from the top you can tuck in from the side or from the top, and I put a mushroom vintage look postcard there. And that just goes right in. So I loved that. And since then, I've discovered that you can get matte laminate if you don't want the shiny gloss. This one's the shinier version, but I still like it. Hopefully it's not glaring and you can actually see the photo. But it's so sweet. More of the pages. And here's some stained paper. This is not a belly band. This is just one of her pretty images and a flower. More journaling spots. You can journal on this and journal here. A little stamp I had from, it's like a Graphics 45 stamp from a long time ago of children playing. I included a couple of those in here. Here's another grungy coffee dyed page, and I love this image of the girls holding hands and walking, and some little lace, a lace applique right there. This is another image, a tuck spot. Adorable, of the little bunny and the boy. And the book talks about this little, I think it might be a cat named Snoop, but I just thought it was cute, and the bunny could be Snoop too. So that just fits right in there. It says Happy Little Snoop. And I made a, what do you call these? I can't think of it right now. Like a scrap pad using offcuts from the kit. And just a little Brad here with some book page and some little dangles there, little floral dangles. And that just slides over this coffee dyed parchment paper right here. Crinkly parchment paper. And a little flower with a button. Crinkles. Here's the other side of that scrappy pad there. More journaling spot with another page from her kit. And more journaling. Her coffee dyed digitals are perfect. They look so real and beautifully stained. I just love them. And you can see those throughout here as well. And here's the center of the signature, some coffee dyed writing paper. And I just used some of her papers here just to make little fun things to hang inside on the strings. It says these are the two stamps that I used earlier, Soar and Bloom and Grow, and they go there in the middle. And then here we have happy hearts and happy faces, happy play in grassy places, and another one of those. Let me move here. Hopefully I won't knock it over. The little stamp, the graphic 45 stamp of the little boy and his dog. More of that crinkly, ripped parchment. And here's another journaling spot and a little fishing stamp, a little boy fishing. This is a CD envelope, and you can pull this out. It's backed with her collage paper and a doily. And when you take off the envelope, which I'm not going to do right now, you can actually pull that off and you can journal on the back of the card that's inside. And this is one of her little images I stamped with a butterfly and a little applique. And that comes off. Here's the little rusty paper clip, and it comes off. And then this is it's an embossed piece of her collage paper. I left the side open if you should want to put something inside, but it doesn't have anything inside now. I may add that. Her little papers here, number 23, and the boys fishing. And then this comes out, and it's actually just a spot to journal. And I added that as well. I thought it was kind of cute with them on their fishing adventure. So there's that. And more papers from the book, more journaling. Here's what I mean about her gorgeous coffee stained digitals. They're so pretty. And this one of my little butterflies that I made was like 3D butterfly. There's a little bit of gold glimmer on there. I don't know if you can see, just a touch. And more of the useful greens, the other side. Journaling spot. This was printed on some textury paper, so it's very sturdy. You can journal on that or put a picture there. Another one of my collage laminated pockets with her images. I included a little swatch tag there and another vintage look postcard. Maybe they were going blackberry picking or raspberry picking, and they went off on their bikes and picked some berries and brought them home. More journaling spots, more book pages, image of this lovely lady, and I made 2 journaling tags using her kit. And we'll keep going. Another journaling page. Lots of spots to journal in here, or to put photos or mementos and stuff. And another 3D butterfly. More of that gorgeous coffee paper. Little raggedy flower, lace. Here's some of that marshy. I just love that, by the river. Here's a vintage postcard. It says, "All quiet along the river, Anancock, Virginia." And that's a real old postcard. It was mounted in someone's scrapbook. Got that at my favorite thrift store. And another image of him. I think he looks like he might sort of be a seaman, you know, like a fisherman or something. And he's got his cat and lives by the river. So there you go. There's in that. More the other side of the useful greens with the bird page. Love that. This date due was in the original book. So I guess they used that at the library in 1907. That's how they kept track of whether you had a book out. And then the last page is the other piece of my snippet roll that I cut and made into a pocket. sweet little image of the children playing ball. This is an actual vintage photograph I'm including of a little baby. It looks like very rustic, and maybe he was in the barn or something. Very rustic looking. And just some other stamps of those two images that I used earlier. I thought I would just include them. And I used this old fabric, and there was a rip, and I went ahead and used it anyway because I liked seeing the old part of the book there. So I just left it as is. So it's very rustic. And here's the other side. You see how worn it is, and you tuck that back in there. I had to, like I said, I had to reinforce the spine. It's actually ripping in spots, but I think it's pretty well enforced. And then you just go ahead and tie the little topper on, and there you have it. It's my rustic little Bobbsy twins in the country. So I hope you like it, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.